And I am going to go ahead and wire this box. An interesting thing about the box, you may remember the other day I put a box in up here for the fan. Well, it's the wrong size box. When I went to hook it up, these bolts were too far apart, so I went out and looked in my pile of parts, and I've got a box that's a bit smaller. So what I'm going to do is just take this bigger box out, put the smaller box back in there. Somebody had a fear the other day that I didn't have enough screws in this thing, so I'll shoot a couple screws in there just to make everybody happy and feel good. And then we'll keep going with that. So that's what I'm going to work on. We're going to see if we can get this fan wired in and working today. Okay, there's the fan, all mounted up and looking pretty. I made it a point not to show you how I wired it because I'm not an electrician and I didn't want anybody to go out and try to do what I'm doing and get themselves electrocuted. We always did everything ourselves because we didn't have any money to pay anybody to do anything. So we learned how to fix cars and wire houses and do plumbing and all that stuff just because we had to. But I really didn't do anything there that wasn't explained in the instructions. The instructions pretty much said attach this wire to that wire and that wire to this wire. So it wouldn't be that hard for somebody to figure out. I think it looks real nice. My next step is to wire it into that wall switch over there. This wall switch was hooked to the old knob and post wiring. So what I've got to do is get in there and kind of figure out a way to get a wire down through this wall to here. Maybe in the process of doing that I can do away with this old round looking thing, piece of paneling thing that somebody cut and put up there. But I'll play with that and we'll see where we get. Okay, I'll call this part Lo and Behold and Looky Here. Lo and Behold, looky here. This is not knob and tube wiring. This is regular, it looks like 12-2. So I did have knob and tube wiring up there, so someone has done some wiring. Apparently there's a piece of this that runs up through this wall. Somewhere up in there in the attic, it converts from this to the other type wiring. If I can find this wire up in the attic and go from the fan to this, I should be able to not have to tear the wall all out is what I'm getting to. I should be able to use this if I can find where it's at up there and then just go from there. So that's kind of an interesting thing to find. I'm hoping as I take some of these other plugs apart that I'll find that something similar. This one here looks rather beautiful and has sort of fallen apart. I'm a little bit afraid of what I'm going to find if I look in there, but you know, got to be done. Okay, having said what I said about not going to teach wiring, I guess I'll show you this. This is a basic wiring book. These are these old home repair improvement time life books that came out a good many years ago. Somebody gave me a set of these and they're a good resource to refer to. According to this book, the hot wire is black, the ground wire is white. There's a secondary ground wire that's usually naked. That is not always the case. For example, in this light switch there's only two wires and there's a current running into the switch and out of the switch. So the current is going to be in the black wire coming in and the white wire going out, or vice versa, some combination of that. Now what I wanted to do is find out, I found a wire up there that looked like it was the right wire. It ran across the attic. They had actually gone over to where the fan is now, where the old light was, tied it into the old knob and tube wiring, brought it back over, put the wire down through the wall and hooked it to that switch. I wanted to make sure it was the right deal, so I kind of set this up. This is basically a pretty makeshift deal. I've plugged a wire into a drop cord here. I've run one side of it to this light, the other side of it into the wire that goes into that switch, and then that comes back out and goes into the wire that goes down to this light. So I've basically got this light set up so that that switch is controlling the current of it, which allows me to test the switch and see if in fact that wire and this switch go together. So when I reach around the corner here and hit the switch, voila, we have light, which tells me that I've got the right wire. Now all I have to do to make that lamp work, that lamp and fan in there, is get a hot wire and a ground wire out of this tangle of stuff. And let me show you the tangle of stuff. I've got somebody who is a sloppier wirer than me set all this up. I don't know if you can see that little spider web of wires over there. I know that it's hot because this light is running off of it. So what I'm going to do is try to untangle it a little bit and find a good source. I've also got a secondary wire that runs up here that was just sticking through the wall. I don't even know if it's hot or not, but I'll find out if it is. Basically what I think I'm going to do is something kind of similar to that, but a lot neater. Find me a box, go into the box, tie a hot wire to that lamp, and then run the other side over to the light switch. The guy did save me a boatload of work by putting that wire down through the wall. That saves me having to do that. While I'm at it, it's a good time to go ahead and wire. There's another light over there. You can't see it, it's on the other side of that bag full of insulation, but there's a lot of lights up here that needs to be wired. So what I'm going to do is establish a central location, put in a box to come out of, and to run those wires for those various locations to and from. And I'm going to try to make it look neat enough so if an electrical inspector ever looks at this place, he won't have a heart attack. So that's the plan. The good news is the light switch works, and I found the right wire, and I don't have to drill a hole down and figure out how to get it down in that wall. So I'm pretty happy about that. I think this is worth sharing. This old house, this wire right here came into this wall and stuck out the side of it with a piece of tape hanging off the end of it. This was, I think, a kid's bedroom at some point. This is an electrocution factory. This thing's hot. And really all you have to do is touch it so that you touch the ground and the hot wire at the same time, and voila, you've got electrocution. That's pretty much about what it takes to kill you. And you know, I saw this hanging here and I thought, I wonder if that thing's hot. So I brought my little test light over here and I touched it to it. Hey, yeah, it's hot. Just imagine, I don't know how many years, I know I've had this house for quite a while, but before me, I don't know how many years that wire stuck out of that wall and was hot like that. Just waiting for somebody to touch it just right and get themselves electrocuted. Imagine that. I think that's probably what makes wiring old houses more fun than wiring new houses. On a new house, you pretty much know what you're messing with. On an old house, you never are quite sure. You see a wire somewhere and say, geez, I wonder if that's hot. Okay, it's done. I took this round wooden thing off of here. I think they just put it on there because this old plaster was cracked up, and I can fix that. But the light works. Fan works. I love making stuff like this work. It just tickles me about half to death. And I neatened up that wire in there. I don't know if you remember, but it was hanging down. Now it's gone. It's sort of invisible, which is what you want. You want it to be out of sight, out of mind, all nice and neat and tucked away. So this is good. Yeah, this is very good. I'm happy about that. So that done, I think I might go find something cool to do for a little while. It's a little bit warmish today. Y'all have a nice day. Alright, I'll do one more shot. I went ahead and fixed this place over here where the logs were showing and the switch box was all messed up. And that way Trish can paint this and we can put a regular switch on there. It should look about as good as new.